Okay. Let's move on to this conversation that I teased at the top. And it has to do with Roquan Smith. And I bring this up now because yesterday, Ian Rappaport reported, along with Mike Garafolo, pretty sure it's been made official by the 49ers, not sure, that the 49ers and all-pro linebacker Fred Warner have agreed to terms on a new 3-year contract extension worth $63 million. Okay, the deal was done by Justin Schulman of Athletes First, and it makes Warner the NFL's newest, highest paid linebacker. He's getting $56.7 million guaranteed. Listen, I love Fred Warner. And that love started back because he, in his college days, because he went to my alma mater in BYU. He's a former Cougar, just like me. And then he's come into the league and he's just taken it by storm. And I think for many years, there's been like a debate, Fred Warner, Roquan Smith, who's better. And I think after 2024, I would go back to saying the pendulum swung over to Fred Warner. And so Jonas Schaefer put together some numbers that I thought were very interesting. So remember in 2022, the Ravens, Eric DeCosta, traded for Roquan Smith in October, mid-season. And we all loved the move, and why wouldn't we? The defense was struggling, and literally the moment that Roquan Smith touched down on the Ravens campus, the defense started to turn around. It was bananas how quickly it turned around with him in the middle of the defense. He and Patrick Queen, great duo. Patrick Queen just wasn't, maybe he's gotten better over the Steelers, I don't know. Patrick Queen just wasn't ready for that Mike role. He was better as the guy next to Roquan. They were a great duo. Now, after that season, knowing how he turned around the defense, seeing what he could do, the leader that he was, the Ravens made him at the time the highest paid inside linebacker at $20 million per year. He has held that title till just now. 3 years later. Think about the quarterback market. Lamar Jackson was the highest paid quarterback just 2 years ago, and now he's number 10. So in 2 years, he went from number 1 to number 10. Roquan Smith held the highest paid title for 3 years. He got paid. The Ravens paid him handsomely. So now Fred Warner only beats him by $1 million per year. It's not like he went up a lot. That's usually how these things work. But as Jonas Schaefer pointed out, here's what's crazy. The salary cap back when Roquan Smith got paid was $208 million. Now it's $279 million. $71 million more, and the inside linebacker market hasn't hardly budged. All that money going to quarterbacks. Quarterbacks just keep getting richer. Although running backs have been making a little resurgence between Derrick Henry, obviously, and Saquon up in Philly. So $70 million more dollars. Inside linebacker hasn't been moving. And Jonas Schaefer says it's because there aren't a lot of blue chip off-ball linebackers, but the market has barely moved. Okay, so let's look at where Roquan Smith now ranks, because now he's 3 years in to his contract. Let me make this a little bit bigger so you can see the whole list. Okay. Here are your top 10 highest cap hits for the Ravens heading into 2025. Lamar Jackson, $43.5 million. I don't think anybody could argue that Lamar Jackson isn't worth every single penny. From the moment he signed his extension, he became an MVP for the second time, contender for the MVP, should have won for a third time. Anytime he's healthy, it's automatic the Ravens are going to the playoffs. We all know that things need to pick up in the playoffs, both Lamar and everybody else. But he is worth every single penny. When you're looking at Brock Purdy, The Brock Purdy's of the world who are getting paid more. The Trevor Lawrences who are getting paid more. So many guys that are getting paid more, and it's like, nah. Like maybe Joe Burrow and Josh Allen, you could say, okay, that's fine that they're all kind of together. Patrick Mahomes isn't even in the top 10. Okay. Lamar worth every single penny. Okay. Number 2 on this list for the top cap hits for the Ravens of 2025 is Roquan Smith. It's at $23.7 million. Then Mark Andrews, who's also a controversial figure these days, at 16.9. Nnamdi Madubuike, 16.4. Ronnie Stanley, who just signed a contract extension, which was huge for the Ravens, 13.9. Odafe Owe on his 5th-year contract, 13.2. Marlon Humphrey, 11.9. Derrick Henry with his new contract, 8.4. And then look who gets the top, the number 9 and number 10 spots. 2 guys that have been cut. So they're dead money. Right here, Marcus Williams at 8.1, Justin Tucker at $7 million. This is why you can't miss on people. That is $15 million in dead money right there going against the cap. Woof. I do like that in purple, though, for Derrick Henry. Okay, so the question becomes, is Roquan Smith playing up to his contract? Is he worth the 2nd highest cap hit behind Lamar Jackson? One other piece of context I do want to put in here is the Ravens have restructured Roquan Smith's contract a few times over the years. And a lot of you out there love restructuring because you're always like, the cap is cap. Go out and get more people, EDC. Go out and get more. You're always advocating to push cap hits down the line. So one of the reasons why Roquan's is so big is because they kept restructuring him, knowing that he would probably, play out the rest of his contract. So some of this, he's already been paid. It's just cap management. It's not like it was that high when he initially signed it. A lot of this is just moving money around. Okay. So to answer the question, I feel like in 2024, Roquan did not live up to his potential. Roquan did not live up to what he's been throughout his career. Roquan did not live up to what he was being paid. He looked slower, a bit slower to me, maybe a little bit bigger. So while I don't feel like he necessarily lived up to it, I do think that people are going overboard when it comes to the Roquan Smith criticism. Now, if that criticism is just to light a fire under him, fine. Although I think he's got plenty of motivation himself. I also do think that people overlook what he was being asked to do in a new Zach Orr defense, because it wasn't just Roquan. We all know that. It wasn't just Roquan that wasn't living up to what we thought he was, to who he thought he was. The whole secondary was a mess. I feel like Marlon's had a resurgent year. I feel like we could take a few years back and be like, okay, Marlon wasn't living up to his, but I feel like he had a resurgent year in 2024. But once the Ravens started making changes on the defense, bringing in not Chuck Pagano, Dean Pease, although they do have both of them now. They benched Trenton Simpson. First, they started taking snaps away from Trenton Simpson slowly, and then by week 15, he lost his starting job for the rest of the year, including into the playoffs. So they started using Malik Harrison a little bit more next to Roquan, Chris Board a little bit more next to Roquan. They started making changes, and then I felt like Roquan was going back to the guy we were used to. Not all the way back, but let's not forget Roquan, whatever. Everybody's got a vote in this, lots of different voices. Sometimes it's a popularity award. But he did get voted into the Pro Bowl again. He did get voted as a first-team All-Pro. He did not repeat for the 3rd time the Butkus Award winner, which goes to the best linebacker in the league. So, but he was a first-team All-Pro last year. Pro Bowler, okay, you can kind of push that to the side. But we were accustomed to a Roquan Smith in 2022 and 2023 who was worthy of the Butkus Award. And he was not that in 2024. He was not. He was not. So, what does that mean going into 2025? For me, Roquan has done more than enough in 2022 and 2023 and enough at the end of 2024 for me to predict that he's going to have a resurgent year. I think he will. I'm sure he's heard the critiques. Although it is funny, some people haven't. Did you guys notice a couple days ago, Ramey on Twitter made a tweet about how divided people were on Roquan, and then a bunch of people are like, "What are you talking about? Who talks negatively about Roquan?" And I'm like, okay. Once again, is it that 4% all inside the vault here? Is that it? Is that it? There's been plenty of criticism for sure. Although obviously it's not getting to some people in the fan base. So yes, he had a down year. No, I don't think he quite lived up to his contract last year. That being said, I am predicting a resurgent year. I think he's going to come back. Hopefully he'll be in peak shape. Hopefully he is unsatisfied, as we saw with Derrick Henry yesterday. And just that game's eating at him. And Roquan's always been a big talker, so maybe this is hurting him too. He's a big talker. And when he's playing like the best linebacker in the league, we all love it. Ray Lewis was a talker. He backed it up. Roquan couldn't back it up as much last year. And so when he comes out of the gate, we covered this, I think, last week. When he comes out of the gate saying, yeah, we want to get our payback in week 1, which would just be the start of the payback, obviously. A lot of people didn't like it, saying, you're talking too much. Our defense can't cash the checks that you're putting out there, that you're writing. And so you don't like that big talk when you're ranked number 32 in pass defense, even though that's not all on him, although partially on him. You don't like that talk when he doesn't look as fast as he used to be, right? I don't mind it, though. I don't mind it. I don't want him to shy away from high expectations. But you got to back it up this time. You got to back it up. So was he living up to his contract last year? I feel like he was under it. But I do think it's going to be a resurgent year. I do think he's going to return to being a leader. And I think in the second year with Zach Orr, they're now on the same page. I think with some key additions that they've got, I hope he proves me right in my prediction.